Liz, I wanted to talk to you about a meeting I just had with one of the employees. I had my monthly review meeting with Joan, and it did not go well. Yeah, I was right. I started to try and explain to her what the situation was, and, deadlines and programs and projects have to be completed, and she was trying to explain something to me, and then she started to get critical about that I wasn't giving her enough positive feedback, and I didn't like her, and I was trying to explain to her what this real situation was. And then she got upset, started to cry, and I couldn't deal with that, so I had to end the meeting at that point and just tell her we'd regroup and try something else. So I'm looking for advice, I guess.
Well, you're going to have to head into another conversation with Joan. There's no question about it. How might you do things differently?
Well, I don't want the same thing to happen before that happened last time. You remember you said I need to take a firmer approach to management, so perhaps my approach was a little too firm. So maybe I need to hear her out a bit more. I don't know. Maybe listen a bit more and let her finish her story. Come to think of it, I did interrupt her a couple of times when she was trying to tell me something.
Doesn't sound like you got the story.
Yeah, I don't think I did. So maybe
until that's on the table, you're going to have a hard time finding a good resolution to the situation.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about her leaving the office every day at 4:30, and I tried to explain that to her, but she just kept talking about the collective agreement that that's what it was, and she has to go home at 4:30.
Well, can I give you a few of my observations of Joan?
That would be great.
Because she's worked with us for 4 years. Just as somebody not working as closely with her as you are, but just somebody observing her, she strikes me as somebody who over those 4 years has become increasingly stressed and strained. I don't see her smiling as readily as she did in her early years in the office. I think when I see an employee racing to get out the door, that tells me there are probably things beyond, maybe there are home pressures, maybe there are expectations on her that we don't know anything about, but that she really feels a strong obligation to responsibility she needs to fulfill. So I would, without delving into her personal life, give her an opportunity to share that with you if she can and if she will. Because even without details, for you to have that context helps you manage her during the day as well, because if you can make some slight adjustments that allow her to feel like she's getting that balance, we'll probably see a lot more productivity out of her during the day and a happier employee. So I think it's worth a conversation.
Yeah, I think you're right there, because I think maybe that's what she was trying to tell me, and then she got so upset she just felt she couldn't at that point. So
the other thing I'd be watchful for is the collective agreement, and it sounded like there was some conversation around hours of work.
Yeah.
And while there are ways for us to expect or offer staff the opportunity to work outside the standard hours of work, that needs to be managed. So that can't be going to her at 4:15 saying stay till 5:30. So I've had lots of experience with that contract. Let's sit down with it together, or even sit down with Joan and say, as demands peak, as they do periodically, what are our options in terms of how the three of us can sit down and figure out how we'll deal with that.
That would be wonderful if the three of us could sit down, because then she could get a better perspective, and we'd all get a better perspective of where everybody else is coming from and understand it better. That would certainly help me.
Well, there'd be some parameters around it, so she wouldn't feel that 4:30 returned to 5:30 or 6:30 or 7:30.
Yeah.
Especially if there's some pressure on her outside work. And as you head into the second conversation, try to give some honest reflection on the first. That'll help, I think, set a much better tone for your conversation with Joan.
Yeah, I think it probably are an apology for
relax.
jump on her so quickly. Yeah.
You know what? We all reflect sometimes on our own responses, and they weren't as.
I get upset when people cry, I guess. So I need
it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Those are hard things to observe, and it's hard to remember what you're trying to achieve ultimately.
Well, thanks, Liz. This was very helpful. I'll take that information, and we'll have another meeting, and I'm sure it'll be much more successful.
Yeah, and we'll chat again. We'll get her there.
Thanks.
You're welcome.